attain the optimum, so that next year when we meet, we need to see the dividend being increased, probably more than the trillion that has been received today. But we also need to see the public value and development impact, because there are some farms that might not have the dividend in terms of cash, but the activities they do, they create an enabling environment that create a better opportunities for other farms to be part of the bigger economy. But also we need to focus on the governance and transparency. As the TR said, there's the issues of corruption, there is issues of procurement. We need to make sure that the market determinants factors that are making these farms, the private sector, to be competitive, the state-owned enterprises are also enjoying those benefits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are these specific sectors or state-owned enterprises that still hold untapped potential for higher profitability and dividend contributions? Well,
no. These are, as the TR said, these are some of the state enterprise institutions that can bring more revenue. But there's one thing which I will argue our leaders to look into it. We know when you are dealing with these state-owned enterprises, and now we are moving into a position where we are trying to invite private sector, we need to see government injecting more capital, because at the end of the day, during the division of the after tax, of course, when they are dividing the profit, if the capital that was injected, because you heard there are companies that Twig, I think, that also contributed significantly today, part of the, where the government has got shares. Some have got 40%, some have got 30%. Now, when the other part has got more shares, when you sit down to divide the cake, large part of the cake will go outside or will go to the private sector. But if the government injects more into these factories, into these enterprises, during the division of the profit, the government will be having a larger cake. So there is a need for the government to look into that, making use of our local financial institutions to play a key role, even if it is a possibility of making them to be able to finance some of these enterprises, because that will retain the profit inside the country rather than letting it to get out of the country.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shayo, for your time.
Thank you.
If you've just joined us, we were chatting with Dr. Shayo with regards to the 1.28 trillion shillings that the government had received earlier today. Meanwhile, the Vice President, Dr. Philip Mpango, says Tanzania aims to manage Pemba Channel and sea ecology in general. Dr. Mpango made the remarks in Nice, France, where he was officiating a meeting on strengthening the blue economy in Pemba. Teddy Mparanyanga has more details.
Vice President Dr. Philip Mpango is in France attending the 3rd United Nations Ocean Conference, speaking at the side meeting on strengthening blue economy at the Pemba Channel, sustainable management of ocean resources, and climate change. Vice President says Tanzania takes several measures to ensure blue economy is sustainable and environment friendly.
Climate resilient ocean governance in the Western Indian Ocean region. I wish to express Tanzania's unwavering dedication to the sustainable management of the Pemba Channel and our wider marine ecosystems. We are determined to ensure that our blue economy becomes a model of inclusive growth, environmental stewardship, and long-term resilience. Let us continue working together with urgency and unity to protect our shared ocean and secure a prosperous future for generations to come.
He says Tanzania is dedicated to manage Pemba Channel, a marine ecosystem.
Tanzania mainland and Zanzibar are undertaking concerted action to ensure the long-term resilience and sustainability of this seascape, guided by 3 founding principles. First is strengthened commitment to marine conservation through expansion and effective management of marine protected areas. I'm pleased to inform you that 2 new conservation areas in Pemba are in the final stages of designation, reinforcing our resolve to protect our unique marine heritage.
In another development, Vice President met and held talks with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Their talks aimed at strengthening relations between Tanzania and United Nations organizations.
So the spices are mostly from Zanzibar. So these are cloves. And then this is a product again of the cloves. Yeah. So and this is the famous Zanzibar dough. The famous Zanzibar dough. Yeah. Yes.
Vice President Dr. Mpango also had an opportunity to have talks with Minister of Environment of Sweden, Romina Pourmokhtari. Their meeting focused on improving cooperation between Tanzania and Sweden in exchanging knowledge in agriculture, advanced technology in preserving environment, and the use of clean cooking energy.
Economic analysts say the proposed 2025-2026 national budget, now estimated at 55.06 trillion Tanzanian shillings, reflects a positive outlook for Tanzania's economy. Speaking to TBC News, they noted the increased allocation signals the government's focus on key sectors like education, agriculture, and digital transformation, where they further highlighted the emphasis on improving tax collection and exploring new revenue sources to sustain flagship projects like the standard gauge railway.
Yeah, when we see the budget, it's a pretty modest increase, as I said, 11%, because one of the government policies to engage private sector in supporting infrastructure developments. Therefore, they can save government spending in some of the areas. So we're talking about a PPP policy, which the government is also looking at it, because in the past the government thinks that they want to do everything. They want to build a market. The Magufuli bus stand is 100% government funds, but apparently those projects increasingly, they can be funded by private sector, so you don't need to collect taxpayers' money to send it to build them like Magufuli or Makumbusho bus stand or any other bus stand across the country. We've seen PPP projects are mobilizing finances from private sector. Those projects, not only that, it doesn't actually mean private sector will benefit themselves. No, there will be revenue sharing models. So the government will make money, as well as the private sector will make money. We have Vision 2050. Probably when we look in the long-term, medium-term, and long-term spectrums, we could actually say, yeah, we are moving in the right directions. So if you look backwards, what we have achieved and what Mama has achieved with even the previous regime, with late Magufuli, so a lot of developments had happened.
I think one of the elements of a good budget is you have to show aspirations to do more, right? So you are moving from a lower level of budget estimates to higher levels. And at the same time, you make sure that you are able to collect revenues, and to implement the projects accordingly. So for me, I think we will still make it. We will be able to collect the revenue and we'll be able to implement the projects that we have earmarked.
I think two important things are to be expected. One is that this is the last budget of the President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. And as I have reiterated in other forums, that Samianomics as a sense of economic management will be reflected again in this year's budget. So I think the business world, citizens are eagerly, I think, waiting to hear what the last shoot of Samianomics would look like. Of course, we'll be finalizing and putting in particular aspects of the macroeconomic metrics that have been doing well under her leadership: economic growth in terms of GDP expansion, poverty alleviation, reducing inequality, investing in infrastructure, and of course, without forgetting that she has been big on agriculture. So I think these are the issues that are to be expected. But the way in which she has been incentivizing the private sector, yeah, I think Tanzania has been undergoing many reviews in which they can expand the tax base. One of the major stance that has been taken is to formulate a committee to go about the Tanzania tax system.
Regionally, Analysts further elaborate that Tanzania's alignment with other East African budgets presents an opportunity to strengthen the economic cooperation and stability. In other news, the United Kingdom's trade envoy to East Africa, Kate Osamor, says the present cordial relations between Tanzania and the United Kingdom presents a new opportunity for the two countries to deepen ties in areas of clean energy, critical minerals, and people-to-people diplomacy. Speaking to TBC News, the new UK Prime Minister's trade envoy to East Africa insists that Tanzania, having endowed with vast natural resources that can derive endless renewable energy for a better future.
Well, from what I've seen and what I've gathered thus far is that clean energy is one of those things. That's something which we are all working towards. When we look at the way that we are heating our homes, even in the UK, we could learn from the natural light that you have here and bring in solar energy and making sure that's something we both benefit from. There's also the critical minerals. And as I say, we've already had a conversation around that. We've had a conference on that. Well, it was a meeting, but I'm going to call it a conference. And it was a great start. So that's another thing that we can work on together. But also we can look at how we can support each other to make sure in years to come, the young people, whether they're in Tanzania or young people that are in the UK, they can become friends and understand each other, because they all want the same thing, and that's for better jobs, a better future, and more importantly, a home that they can be proud of.
Furthermore, the special trade envoy challenged local businesses to think global, as Tanzania-UK bilateral ties have created a platform for both to benefit mutually.
To any young entrepreneur watching this is that we're here and we're watching, and what I'm watching is that there is something for all of us. Those things that most people look at or dream of possibly are not coming into fruition. But with British businesses coming to Tanzania, with banks investing in British businesses, we can now team up together and give them the jump start that they need. And I think that's something they need to know of. It's not always about money, it's sometimes about ideas. And then for us having that bridge, to bridge that gap and work with businesses that are here and businesses that want to come over here to support those young entrepreneurs. So there's a place for them in the market, and it's for us to encourage them to step forward and to be part of the future of Tanzania.
During her visit, the trade envoy held meetings with senior government officials, visited the UK-linked businesses, and held discussions with private sector leaders, and tonight joining other UK embassies and Tanzanian government to celebrate the official birthday of King Charles III in Dar es Salaam. In case you missed any of our news stories, remember you can always go to our YouTube channel at TBC Online and watch anytime, anywhere. Before concluding the local news tonight, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Administration of President Donald Trump of the United States have sent thousands more troops to Los Angeles on the fourth day of chaotic protests against immigration raids as the unrest spread to other U.S. cities. Some 700 U.S. Marines have been deployed to the L.A. area, and the contingent of National Guard troops mobilized to help quell the disorder that has been doubled to 4,000. California Governor Gavin Newsom says the move was fulfilling the deranged fantasy of a dictatorial president. The state is suing the president for sending in troops without the governor's permission. The standoff in LA represents the first time since 1965 that a president has sent National Guard troops to a U.S. city without a governor's approval. U.S. Marines were previously deployed domestically for major disasters such as Hurricane Katrina in 2005 and the September 11th attacks in 2001. The Trump administration has so far not involved the Insurrection Act, which would allow he's deployed troops to directly participate in civilian policing. On Tuesday morning, the LA County prosecutor restated the review of state authorities that the extra deployment was unnecessary. Don't miss TBC News every weekday. It's now time for the sports news. And in sports, more than 300 people are expected to march from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma for 20 days, aiming at promoting peace towards the general elections scheduled to take place in October this year. The chairman of the National Reconciliation and Peace Community of Tanzania, Sheikh Alhad Musa Salum, says they have decided to use sports to promote peace and unity in the country.
Uchaguzi wa amani ndio msingi wa utulivu wetu. Kwa vijana hawa ambao wako tayari, vijana 300 kutembea.
Peaceful elections are our foundation. These more than 300 young people are ready. Their goal is to convey a message to the community to participate peacefully in the elections and ensure we close safely. This walk will last for 7 hours each day, and it will continue to serve as a platform to provide education on various issues.
And that is the end of the sports news. Before you conclude the local news tonight, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hello, dear viewers. Welcome to the next 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. My name is Desteri Moses. From the windy patterns analysis, light to moderate windy is expected over different parts of our country, with the state of the sea expected to be rough. Tanzania Meteorological Authority has issued an advisory concerning large waves over the entire coastal regions of the Indian Ocean. People conducting marine activities over these areas are advised to take all necessary precautions. Tonight, partly cloud condition, rain showers over a few areas is expected over the northern coast of Indian Ocean, which includes Morogoro region, and the remaining part of our country is expected to be mainly dry. The lowest minimum temperature is expected to reach 9 degrees Celsius over Jombe region, and tomorrow it is an expectation that over the high grounds of northeastern highland regions, light rain showers is expected, while over the northern coast, which includes Morogoro regions, are expected to feature rain showers over a few areas and sun periods. The remaining part of our country is expected to be mainly dry. Now let us have a look at the weather forecast for the next 4 days for some regions in our country. Rain showers together with sun periods are expected over Dar es Salaam. Dodoma is expected to feature sun periods in the next 4 days. Mbeya region as well is expected to feature sun periods in the next 4 days. This weather is also expected over Mwanza. Kilimanjaro is expected to feature sun periods in the next 4 days. Over Morogoro region, sun period is expected to persist, as well as over Arusha, dry condition is expected in the next 4 days. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, until next time, thank you for watching us.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I'm Kanki Mwegumole. Good night.